Hey, welcome back to the Las Vegas Desert and the Link Studios overlooking Caesars Palace alongside Anita Marks. My name is Joe Fortenbaugh, and this is your Wednesday edition of Bet. NBA reporter Nick Friedell coming up in just a moment on the white-hot Utah Jazz. 18-1-1 against the spread over the last 20. Will they cover tonight against the Clippers? The PGA Tour heads south to Riviera. Anita's got about 1,000 bets for you on this weekend's Genesis Invitational and the NBA Wednesday Night Pick'em Spectacular. 5 games. We'll be wagering on all of them. Now, we mentioned everything but the NFL, but it's always near and dear and close to our heart. If you're interested in anything NFL related, the divisional odds have been coming out. And yesterday, Anita, Doug Kazarian, and myself discussed the NFC East. Check it out, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. All right, Anita, Wednesday means we play a little let it ride or cash out. 3 statements in which if you agree, you will be letting it ride. If you disagree, you will be cashing out. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's roll.
Then let's play. Number 1, let it ride or cash out. After getting franchise tagged last year for $31.4 million, quarterback Dak Prescott will get franchise tagged again this offseason.
I say no, cash out for a lot of reasons that are out of his control. And that has to do with the Dallas Cowboys. They are strapped cap space wise. I got the numbers right here. They're $178 million cap space on the books. And as we know, because of the pandemic, that cap space is supposed to fall to about 180, 185. There is no way they're going to be able to franchise tag. That was a Marxism, by the way. Dak Prescott for, what is it, $38 million? There's just no way they're not going to be able to afford to do it. Also, they have 24 free agents, Joe, many on the offensive line, many in the secondary. So, you know, they're going to have to work out. If they're going to keep Dak Prescott, they're going to have to work out a long-term deal, long-term, including bonuses, whatever. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to throw this back your way. I actually think the Dallas Cowboys would be better off if they just roll with Andy Dalton and they let Dak Prescott go. I don't believe they're going to do that. I think they'll enter into a contract with him, but they certainly cannot afford to tag him, Joe. They can't.
All right, I'm right with you on this one. I'm going to be cashing out, but I want nothing to do with the Dalton portion of your conversation. So I'm going to agree with everything you said up until Andy Dalton should be the guy. And I'm going to focus on a couple of the points you hit on. Salary cap. This would be a second franchise tag, so like you said, it's going to be $38 million, very costly. But more importantly, you cannot franchise tag an individual a third time. So if you were to franchise tag Dak Prescott this year and he plays out of his mind, you have absolutely no mechanism whatsoever to prevent him from becoming a free agent after this season. You have the franchise tag right now. You had it last year. You will not get it again. So that's too much risk, number 1. Number 2, is he ever going to be cheaper? Coming off an injury, in his mind, he might be thinking, you know what? I want some long-term security. Maybe I would be willing to take less. And if you're Dallas and you really like the guy, to so many points you made up, you can't afford the tag. This would be the deal. Go long-term, coming off the injury, maybe, just maybe, you find a way to get a little bit of a discount. Number 2. Let it ride or cash out. 2020 Masters champion Dustin Johnson will record at least one more win before defending his title at the 2021 Masters.
I say yes, let it ride. I mean, Joe, we're talking about the #1 golfer in the world. And listen, he heading into the tournament this week at Riviera that kicks off tomorrow. He won here in 2017. He took Pebble off to get ready for this tournament. There's a chance he wins this weekend. Don't underestimate it. On top of that, I looked at the schedule, some of the tournaments leading into the Masters, and there's 2 in particular that he as well, more than likely, is going to be favored going into. One is the Players Championship, and number 2 is the World Golf Championship, Dell Technologies, and its match play. And one thing we know about DJ, he loves match play. So I say there's a chance that he could win another tournament before the Masters. Absolutely.
I am going the other way here. I'm going to cash out, but very, very reluctantly. it's extraordinarily dangerous to bet against Dustin Johnson. He's won on tour
Yes, it
5
is.
times over the last calendar year, but that's just on the PGA Tour. 2 weeks ago, he was over in the Middle East. He won the Saudi Invitational, and of course, he's this week's favorite at 5-1. Including the Genesis Invitational this weekend, there are 9 more events between this current moment and the Masters. So would he win one of 9? That's actually not what we're asking because he's not going to play in all those events. So because it's going to be less than 9, because there are so many good golfers playing so well right now, I will reluctantly cash out, but my confidence level on this is like a 2 out of 5. That's where we are. DJ has been incredible over the last year. His head is in the right spot. All right, number 3, final one, let it ride or cash out. Already with 3 triple-doubles on the year, LeBron James will finish the season with 6 triple-doubles or more.
I say let it ride, especially with the fact that Anthony Davis is injured right now. Listen, he was 3 assists away from last night putting up another triple-double. Pretty amazing. There has never been, I shouldn't say never, but this season in the NBA, offensive efficiency is through the roof. I mean, look at some of the scores that are out there, some of the other triple-doubles that are taking place. And I looked at their schedule. Very interesting. Let me share it with you. First of all, they're taking on the Nets on Thursday night. That could be a triple-double right there. Their defense is just absolutely horrible. I think, what are they, like 24th, 25th in defensive efficiency in the NBA. But the remaining schedule up until the All-Star break, they have 6 of their final 8 games are at home, and they have only 1 that is back-to-back, and that's the last 2 games leading, of course, into the All-Star break. And their last game is against the Kings, whose defense is just as horrible as the Nets. So, yes, I say it's possible. Give me 6, LeBron. Give me 6, and I will wager on them, too.
Kings defense has been absolutely terrible. I am with you here. I am going to let it ride. LeBron has 3 triple-doubles in 29 games this season, so we're asking him to come up with 3 more triple-doubles in 43 games. That's extremely plausible for an individual averaging 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on the season. In fact, he's grabbed 2 triple-doubles in his last 7 starts. But I want you to think of it like this for a second. It's not just that he only has 3 triple-doubles so far. He has been so close to so many more. If you take 6 rebounds and you take 6 assists and you diligently and precisely sprinkle them over some of his other game lines, he goes from 3 triple-doubles to 8. 3 to 8, just by adding a few assists here and a dash of rebound there, he would be at 8. So it's not as if he's gotten to 3 lucky. He hasn't gotten to 8 because he's been unlucky. He's been so close. I am with you. We are letting it ride on that one. All right, so from LeBron James, best player in the NBA, to the best team in the NBA, and perhaps the best guy out there covering the NBA, Nick Friedell, joining us here on Bet. Friedell, oh my God, that's a beautiful shirt. And the combination with the pocket square, outstanding. Thank you so much for dressing up
Just
for the
occasion. You, buddy.
You look like $1 million. We'll start right here. At a price of plus 240 to win the title, the Lakers are still listed as the favorites over the Brooklyn Nets at William Hill, who are at a price of plus 350. But with the Anthony Davis news that he has the calf strain and that the Lakers are going to shut him down for a little bit, which team would you be more willing to put your money on to win the title, the Lakers or the Nets?
I'd still take the Lakers. And, Joe, the reason why is because the Nets don't play defense. And they are fantastic offensively with Kyrie and Harden and KD. And when they're healthy, that's great. But I'll believe it when I see it, when a team can be that dominant offensively and not play much defense all the way through the playoffs and winning the finals. So for now, given what I know, even if AD misses a large chunk of time, if those are the 2 options, I'm still going with the Lakers.
The Utah Jazz are laying 3.5 points tonight on the road in Los Angeles against the Clippers. Despite the best record in the business, the Jazz are still 12-1 to win the title. On a scale of 0 to 100, what percentage chance do you give Utah to claim the 1 seed in the Western Conference?
I'll still give them a 50% chance. I think they've got a legit chance to get through that threshold this year. But the reason why people don't want to believe in the Jazz, Joe, is because they've never proved it in the playoffs. And you're talking to somebody who last year was like, yep, the Jazz are there. The Jazz are title contenders. And then what did the Jazz do? They got hurt. They went through their normal midseason fade where you couldn't figure out what was going on. They get into the bubble, and they just couldn't make it happen. They couldn't close the 3-1 deficit. So until Utah proves it in the playoffs, there's going to be a large amount of doubt. And I understand why, because this is a team that is made for the regular season to do well like they're doing now. The 1 seed is possible. I just still don't buy that they're going to get into the playoffs and really do something different this time.
All right, Nick, I've got a fun one for you. I was hosting my sports talk radio show on Saturday, and I came across here in New York, and I came across a fun topic, and that was the Knicks at that point in time, plus 210 to make it to the postseason. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks were plus 210 to not. As of today, those odds have changed. Now the Knicks to get into the postseason is plus 152. Dallas to not get in the postseason is plus 198. My question to you is, what is the better bet?
Anita, I am not betting against Tom Thibodeau. We're talking about Thibs here. You think this guy is going to find a way to not steer this team into the playoffs? This is an untankable coach. He gets Derrick Rose. He's got Julius Randle being awesome, the best of his career. He looks a lot like Luol Deng did at that start of the Bulls run about 10 years ago. Tibbs knows how to get teams who nobody really believes in to play at a higher level than they're capable of. I'm taking Tibbs, and I would bet on the Knicks in this case.
ESPN reporter covering the NBA, Nick Friedell, with us here on Bet. Nick, you're going to be joining me next week to co-host this show. If you're going Big Pocket Square, you better let me know in advance so I can up my game as well.
Joe, I'm going to send you like 10 different options because I got so many that I feel are bet worthy, so you can make the final decision, but I promise I'll be ready.
Very classy. Keep it classy, Friedell. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on.
Always, guys.
All right. This is the part of the show where I walk myself into a giant trap trying to go head-to-head with Anita on golf bets. But if you check this out on ESPN and the chalk section on the website last week, we all slashed and dashed our way through Pebble Beach, giving out winners left and right. So, Anita, let's see if we can keep it going. It's the Genesis Invitational at Riviera Country Club this week. Star-studded field, unlike last week. Dustin Johnson is the 5-1 favorite. So let's start with the top of the leaderboard. Who do you see finishing at or near the top come Sunday?
Yeah, Joe, you're absolutely right. We crushed it last week. What does that mean? We're playing with house money. Now, last week I did pick Cantlay to win it. Second time's a charm for me. Listen, California kid, that West Coast swing is about to come to an end. He's going to want to win. And when you look at the metrics, this is very interesting. 16 of the last 20 winners were top 10 in greens in regulation, and 5 of the last winners were top 5 in strokes gained tee to green. And guess what? Cantlay, he's 8th on tour this season, tee to green. Love Cantlay. I think he seals the deal. I think he wins it this week at Riviera.
All right, now in terms of a 1-2 punch, do you have anything near the top of the leaderboard? Because I know DraftKings gets real creative with some of these bets.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. You can bet on a straightforward 1-2 punch where Cantlay comes in first, and the guy that I like to see come in second is Xander Schauffele. Love him coming into this tournament. 6th in strokes gained tee to green, 7th in par 4 birdies or better. There are a ton of long par 4s here, and you're going to need that length, that distance off the tee to get through, or over, I should say, 58 bunkers. So Schauffele can do it. So I love Schauffele. I have him coming in second, and also going into the tournament, I'm not a big fan of Rory. I know Rory's a great golfer. I'm sure he'll finish in the top 20, but until I see him close the deal on Sundays, I'm not going to take him above top 20. So I see Schauffele outdoing Rory in match play.
Okay, I like what I'm hearing. I'm going to throw one I like your way. You tell me what you think. Victor Hovland is plus 150 to finish in the top 20. So if he's in the top 20, last week you and I both like Kevin Streelman to finish in the top 20. We cashed that ticket. I'm going to go with Hovland at plus 150. So I'm risking 100 to win 150. Now there's a little bit of risk because he's never played in this tournament before, but he is in ridiculous form as of late. Since last year's U.S. Open, he's been 15th or better in 5 of 7 starts. He won at the Mayakoba, which I believe was back in December, and he finished tied for second at the Farmers Insurance Open in San Diego just a few weeks back. And you mentioned it earlier, one of the most important metrics for this course is strokes gained tee to green. He's top 20 in that mark, right now 17th entering the tournament. He has fired a round worse than 70 just 3 times in his last 16 rounds. Victor Hovland to finish in the top 20 at plus 150. What say you?
Listen, I'm going to one-up you because I'm going to look at my top. You've got him finishing in the top 20. I got him finishing in the top 10. This isn't a course that you need to have so much concern about a player or golfer only playing it for his first time in a tournament. So I've got Morikawa as well as Hovland both in my top 10, but a guy that I really love in the top 10 is Niemann. Let's talk about metrics again. 9th in strokes gained tee to green, 12th in greens in regulation, 2nd in ball striking, that's so important at Riviera, and 5th in par. Again, I'm looking at par 4 birdies or better. Man, Niemann checks all the boxes, and Joe, at plus 450 for me to get him in the top 10, I'm all about it. There's a chance that Niemann can win this thing. So at plus 450, I love him in the top 10.
All right. I'm with you on there. I'm glad you and I are in agreement. Niemann as well. I really like him. I had him in the top 30 at like plus 120. It wasn't great, but just to get into the top 30, he's going to be one of the popular names this week. When it comes to 4-round matchup bets, I love playing the 4-round matchup bets. One guy versus another guy. You got anything on that front?
Yeah, okay, so a few things. In regard to the top 20, Neesmith is a guy who's crushing it so far this season, and for whatever reason, he is not getting the respect from the odds makers. So he checks, again, all the boxes to win, 2nd in greens in regulation, tied for 4th in ball striking. So for him to finish in the top 20 and you could get that 5-1, that's just ridiculous odds right there. And watch Molinari. Now, you know, we both play golf. We know how well we play on our quote-unquote home course, whether you are a part of a country club or there's a course that you play often. Riviera is Molinari's home course. He's played it a lot. That gives me extra incentive to put money down on him at plus 125 just for him to finish in the top 40. I think are great odds. Again, he's 24th in strokes gained tee to green as well. So Molinari in the top 40. Love that bet as well. Those are 2 of my favorite bets.
I like it. If you're Molinari, you have to be out hosting events this week, obviously from a socially distancing standpoint, but you cannot get embarrassed on your home course. You can't let all these guys walk into the club where you belong and let them beat you. So that's an excellent angle right there. Let's transition to the National Basketball Association Wednesday night card. Massive. So we're going to rapid fire through 5 games here. Give me any bet you like. Side, total, prop, whatever you think. We'll begin with the Celtics. They're a 2-point favorite. 223 points is your total. They are hosting the Atlanta Hawks. Where you want to go here?
Joe, you know me. I play matchups a multitude of ways. So first and foremost, I love Boston here, right? Boston -3. I'm going Trae Young I'm going Trae Young under in points. I'm going Jaylen Brown over in points. And a sneaky good play with Gallinari. Ever since he's recovered from that ankle injury, he is just a sharp shooter. So I love Gallinari over points. Listen, Hawks have lost 7 of 8. Their head coach is back in Atlanta with the birth of it's his 2nd child. So congratulations on that. And Young dealing with a thumb issue. I think the Hawks are going to struggle tonight.
All right, I'm looking at the total here. I'm going to play the under. It's been coming down. Boston games don't feature a lot of points this season. In fact, only 4 of their last 12 have gone over 225 total points. So this morning it was around that. It's dropped down to 223. I'm still going to play an under here. Atlanta's over has cashed in 5 straight. They were one of the best under bets in the NBA for a while, and now there's points being scored all over the place, which leads me to believe that this specific line is a little overinflated, which is why I think we could find some value. In terms of pace, Atlanta ranks 14th, Boston ranks 20th, so neither team is flying up and down the court, and the Celtics, despite this season being a bit of a struggle, are still a top 10 team when it comes to defensive rating. So I don't see a shootout here. I think Boston's going to slow the tempo down a little bit. Atlanta's going to play with them. There will be some defense, and ultimately, we hopefully stay under 223 total points. Game number 2. It's the Philadelphia 76ers. They're laying 10.5 with a total of 226.5 as they host the Houston Rockets. What do you got in this one?
All right, I'm going to watch and see if Embiid is active, as you know, like I like to call it, Joe, active and attractive.
Yeah.
I'm still going to spread. I'm going to stay away from the spread. I don't like the spread, but I'll tell you what I do like. How about Embiid and Ben Simmons over 20.5 combined rebounds? How about that's a sneaky good play? Don't ask me how I found that. That's on William Hill, by the way. Houston. All right, now we know Houston is still going to be without Wood, right? So defensively, no bueno, as I like to call it. They play small ball, especially in the paint. 76ers, 3rd best in rebounding rate. Atlanta, 2nd worst in the NBA. And Simmons is averaging 9 rebounds a game. So again, combined rebounds for both Embiid and Simmons, 20.5 combined. I'm taking the over. Again, obviously, Embiid has to be active and attractive.
All right, I like it. Philadelphia's coming off an awful showing on the road. They come home. They've been a great home team over the last couple of years. I'm going to isolate the Houston Rockets team total, which is 107.5 points, and I'm going to bet that goes under. Now, you can look at a lot of great offensive metrics for Houston, but here's what you need to focus on. They've gone 6 straight games without big man Christian Wood, and it's killing them. They're 0-6 in those 6 games, and they're only averaging 102 points per game without Christian Wood. Now, it's a small stretch, or I should say sample size, but it does show us how important he is to their offense. And he's also important to their pace, which has dropped off dramatically. Right now, in the last 6 games, their pace is just 99.6. I won't bore you at home with all the metrics on that. I'll just tell you this. That would rank, if that was their pace for the entire season, 19th in the NBA, which means they're one of the slower teams in terms of moving the ball up and down the court and in getting their shots off. Pace is a metric that basically boils down how many possessions you have per game. The more possessions per game, the more shots. The more shots, the more points. If you're not getting a lot of possessions and you're not getting a lot of shots, you're not getting a lot of points. And tonight, going up against the top 10 Philly defense, I'm going to say the Rockets score fewer than 107 total points. On to game number 3. It's the New Orleans Pelicans. Fresh off a back-to-back. Both teams played last night. They're laying 3.5, total of 236 against Dame Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. What are we picking here?
This is a prop bet that I've been cashing in on a lot, and the odds makers are well aware of that. So this total has gone up, but it's not scaring me away. And that's Gary Trent Jr. over 19.5 points. Since C.J. McCollum has been out, he has had to step up in a big way, and he is draining threes from downtown like nobody's business. He's averaging 4 a game. So I'm going over in points for Trent Jr. Odds makers, I ain't scared of you. 19.5, he'll go over tonight. You just watch.
All right, I'm glad you've been following that one. There's no way that if you take either of these teams or the Mavericks, any of those 3 and put them together, I will ever consider an under. The only way I can go is over, and in this situation tonight, it opened at 231.5 and has been bet all the way up to 236. I'll still play the over here because I like the idea of watching these two play no defense whatsoever. They are 2 of the 3 worst defenses in the entire NBA. They both rank 23rd or worse in points allowed. Both played last night, so there's going to be a little bit of fatigue on the legs. But when it comes to fatigue on the legs, that's going to happen on the defensive end of the court, where neither team's going to want to really mark up for 48 consecutive minutes. Like I said, this opened at 231.5, and it's been nothing but money on the over. You're paying a premium now at 236. I'm still getting involved. Over. Pelicans Blazers 236. Game number 4. The Golden State Warriors laying 1.5 points, total of 222 as they get set to host the Miami Heat, where you're originally from. Are you back in the Heat tonight?
I am not backing the Heat. I'll tell you who I am backing. And again, active and attractive, we're hoping he will be, and that is Draymond Green, because you, me, Doug, all of us on Daily Wager, man, we have been he has been the human ATM machine and over an assist for like weeks now. So I'm hoping he's going to be active. I got Draymond Green double-double for 3-1, like that, over an assist at 9.5. And how about this? Steph Curry, over 5.5 from downtown. Now, this is a Miami Heat team. They give up, well, first of all, they give up 25 assists a game. That's why I like Draymond Green, besides the fact that he's been just crushing it with the assists. But how about this? Miami allowing the most 3 points per game. Teams are averaging 15 3 points a game against them. And Curry, as we know, the last 10 games, 45% from downtown. So I love, again, Curry over 3 points and Draymond Green active and attractive over an assist. And I actually like him to put up a double-double for 3-1.
Yeah, no doubt I'm with you on the assist. We've all been riding that blindly for like 2 weeks now, getting paid left and right. One of the best bets of the year. I'll play the side here as well. I will lay the 1.5 with the Golden State Warriors, who have been better than expected. But this is more of a play, more than anything else, against the Miami Heat, who have been abysmal on the road. 4-9 straight up, 5-8 against the spread when playing outside of Miami this year. Look at what happened just 2 nights ago in LA against the Clippers. No Kawhi Leonard, no Paul George, no Patrick Beverly. The Heat were in there laying 6.5 points as a favorite. They get beat by 7. They are not showing up this season. They're struggling left and right. Now, I know some of that was due to injuries, but you're going to walk into Golden State. You're going to be playing a team that loves to run up and down the court. They're second in pace this season, while Miami is 19th. And offensively, Miami has struggled. 26th in offensive rating, 27th in scoring. They're not going to be able to slow the tempo down against Golden State. Golden State is going to force them to run with that small ball lineup, whether they want to or not. That means Miami's offense is going to have to hit some shots. And based on what I've seen this season from their offense A and from their offense on the road B, I'm laying it with the Golden State Warriors. Game number 5, final one for the Wednesday night pick'em. The Utah Jazz, who have won 19 of 20, and during which time are 18-1-1 against the spread. They're laying 3.5 with a total of 227.5 in LA against the Clippers. Are you riding with the Jazz, Anita?
I am riding with the Jazz, and I know that there's some talk and expectation that Kawhi is supposed to get back tonight, but he is dealing with a leg issue. But at the same time, the Jazz get Conley back as well. So that's really going to be an interesting play because they've gelled, they've done so well. You just shared the stats. I still think this Jazz team is rolling on all cylinders. Listen, as of right now, like, I'll put money on them to win the championship over the Lakers. I mean, that's how good they're how good ball they're playing. So yes, I'm rolling with the Jazz tonight for sure, Joe.
I am right there with you. I should have jumped on this train a while ago when Doug told me to, and today, Daily Wager, you can hear more about it at, I believe, 5 p.m. Eastern as we fire off at 2 p.m. Pacific on ESPN2. But it's not just the fact that they've won 19 of 20. They have won 17 of those 19 games by double digits. 17 of those 19 win by double digits, all of which have been by 4 or more points. They only need to cover 3.5 tonight. Whether or not Kawhi plays, we know Paul George is not going to play. The defensive rating for the Clippers plummets without Paul George. With him, their rating would essentially be number 1 in the NBA. Without him, it would be 18th. That's how much he means to that end of the court. Utah is one of the best offenses in the business. I'm with you. I will lay it with the Jazz. Now, before we say goodbye or before I let you go, we're introducing a new segment today here on Bet, which is called Before I Let You Go. One last opportunity to fire off a bet on anything we haven't discussed so far in this show. You're our guest, Anita. You've been doing an excellent job. Ladies first, which way do you want to go before I let you go?
You know me, Joe. I love golf. I've got to go back to the Genesis Invitational at Riviera. And before I came on the show, I was looking at some of the first round matchups. I know we talk about the tournament matchups, but I looked at some of the first round matchups. And one in particular I really love is Schauffele over Brooks Koepka. And I know Brooks Koepka, he just won recently. We saw it at Phoenix. It's okay, but I still like Schauffele coming in, and I'll share those metrics with you again. 5th in strokes gained tee to green, 7th in par 4 birdies. So round 1, Schauffele over Brooks.
I'm going to play another highfalutin sport, but not golf. I'm going to go to tennis. Down under, Australian Open, women's semifinals, Serena Williams versus Naomi Osaka. I'm going to lay the bigger number with Osaka at -150. I talked to our boy Brad Gilbert, who's going to join us on Daily Wager later today. Again, ESPN 2, 5 p.m. Eastern. And we talked this morning, and he was saying, look, these two played 10 times. He's got Osaka winning 7.7 out of 10. He does think she'll be a little bit nervous going up against her idol, Serena Williams, but Serena's playing for Major Championship 24, which would tie her for most all time, so the nerves are there as well. Pros versus Joes matchup here. All right, that's what this is. The Joes, the public, all over Serena Williams. They want to back her here, but the sharp money, according to a lot of bookmakers, coming in on Osaka. I will lay the -150 on Naomi Osaka. And it's probably happening so late, I'll be sleeping. I'll just wake up, check the account, and go from there. Anita, like usual, you knocked it out of the park. Thank you so much for filling in for Tyler Foljam. I'll see you on Daily Wager, ESPN 2 at 5 p.m. Eastern. As for everybody else, we'll see you guys tomorrow for Thursday's episode of Bet. Thanks for catching us today.